Yes. Hello again, Chuck.
Hello, Bettina. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We just started emotional, and we actually are having coming up the restoration of Tantra, one of your, well, the starting of the three apprenticeships of 2026. Um, so maybe we can jump into that a little bit and see what's coming up. Um, One of the questions I was thinking about today is why, because I know that you're thinking about the themes, why the restoration of Tantra? Why is this important to start this challenging 2026?
There's many paths of Tantra, but Tantra is basically about healing emotions. And so there's nothing in between you and real connection through sex. And the connection of sex that goes not just plugging in, but beyond the body,
Mhm,
which is mind to mind.
mhm, mhm.
And once you learn about that, it's like, well, that gets really so much more exciting than sex because it is something that opens doors that goes beyond time. And
Mhm,
when you go beyond time, you're in joy, you're in ecstasy.
mhm.
And most people get stopped right at emotions. It just takes them out of the game. You
Yeah.
know anybody like that?
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell about that the last couple of weeks. So yeah, okay.
So there is actually a central aspect
Mhm,
to this that if you follow it, you can relieve yourself of guilt and fear and pain and revenge and competition and all of that good stuff that most people get caught up in as soon as we're born into a family. Betty, if I ask you, how many shattered dreams have you had?
Uh, 20,000 are coming up still.
20,000. Do you know how much pain that leaves inside you?
Yeah, okay. I have slight contact with
Yeah.
that.
You've read about it.
Yeah.
Well, basically, all healing is about getting through this. And at the heart of every problem, you'll find separation.
Yeah, I could feel.
Basically, that's why we left heaven. We wanted to be different. We wanted to be special. We wanted to be God's special kid. And and so we jumped into making our own world. And look what a good job we've done.
Not.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then that seems to be different than God's will because he's all oneness. He's all about oneness. He
Mhm.
goes, "You're the same as me. I created you just like me." And you're going, "No, I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to make myself." And we have made this identity, and we don't realize how much it's, giving the old to God. You
Yeah.
know, the thing is, when we do that, and this is done at soul levels, at unconscious levels, when we do that, then we seem to think God's our enemy. And then we think, he won't help me. He won't answer my prayers. But if he didn't answer your prayers, he'd lose his license. So it's like, as we think, that's what we experience. This is our setup. So, one of the things that masters are always doing is watching their minds
Mhm,
because it shows you when you've gotten off base.
mhm,
Now, as soon as you judge, you suffer.
mhm,
It's almost like instant karma. If you took a minute of thinking of somebody you judged
mhm,
for just 1 minute,
mhm,
you would feel exhausted.
mhm,
Now, our mind is like a machine gun. It's like, shooting at everybody because we want to say, I'm not like that. I'm so much better than that. Yeah, I would never do anything like that. And so our judgment hides actually our guilt.
Yeah.
And it hides because why would we want to separate like that? And so that's all of at the heart of our independence. Betty, if I ask you, how independent are you?
20,
20.
80, I don't know. I mean,
And
I have a body, so it's 100.
yeah. And what happens is this independence is built on being special. But the extent to which you're independent, you're also in sacrifice. That rang a bell. And the extent to which you're independent and in sacrifice is the extent to which you have pain inside. Pain, failure, victim. It's just this one big vicious circle. And we have no idea that we have that going on with us. And that keeps us from partnership. Bonding is the natural answer. And God created us as part of his oneness. He didn't make us separate little pieces, in a factory. No, he made us one. And then we had this idea, well, I'm going to make myself one. And look what we've done with ourselves. So we're doing this at the root of it. And every heartbreak has this, every loss has this, every attachment has this, is the desire to be special. But then when your special someone goes away, even to work, how do you feel? Hmm. So it's beginning to take a look at everything, all of your fights. Have you ever had a fight with your partner?
Yes, 2 or 3.
2 or 3 billion? Yeah. Okay. And that's the thing, because what we're fighting for is our needs. And our needs are coming from the choice to separate and be special. And this began in our families growing up. Hmm. And then that's then in the way of our relationship. All of those emotions inside and the dissociation, the lack of feeling. And then, when we feel bad, we use sacrifice to compensate for it. Think of all the things you've done to be special. How much of your energy is spent every day in being special?
Again, 20% it's coming up. Can't be true. It's 80. It's 80. More than 80 for sure.
Yeah. So it's like that's what your ego wants. It's that
Crazy.
rang a bell. Yeah, it's like and if you can't be special in a positive way, if you can't be the winner, then you decide to be the wiener. You decide to be the loser.
Yeah.
And so people who get sick, bottom line, there's needs, and there's a need to be special and to need to get attention. But if there's love or forgiveness, that can heal the specialness, that can heal that need, and that bonds us. And when you have that forgiveness, illusions fall away. Forgiveness and specialness can't go together. So when you're feeling bad, if you give forth, you join someone, you love someone, then all of a sudden, then it doesn't feel bad. So, if Chris goes away on a business trip, how do you feel?
Sad.
Oh, come on. It's a worse face than that, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. But now, as he goes away, join with him,
Mhm.
mind to mind, light to light, heart to heart.
It's good.
Yeah. And you can do that all the time.
Mhm.
So connection is available because we were created in connection. That's our natural state. So as we get rid of the specialness, the ego says, you're going to die.
Mhm.
But no, it's the ego that's going to die. And when the ego dies, what's left is how we were created, which is love.
Mhm.
And then you're not worried about specialness or getting attention because you're just feeling so good loving. But we think we have lots of good reasons not to love. There's no good reasons not to love because it's the answer. Like forgiveness is practical love and is the answer. It restores bonding. So think of your biggest heartbreak.
Mhm. Should I?
And yeah, sure. It happened with you and
Yeah, somehow it's loss of my family. This came. I've never had that, but it feels like losing the connection to my family when I was young.
yeah, that's a shattered dream.
Mhm.
I mean, you want to just be happy, and it seems like connection to your family is what it's all about.
Mhm.
But the thing is, you can't lose something that you fully value.
Mhm.
But
Didn't.
and as hard as you tried, could you be that special? And you tried by sacrificing yourself, martyring yourself, trying to save the family. And we're all impelled, we're compelled to save our families. And the thing is, we have very little tools. They don't teach us about this. And our family pattern sets up our relationship pattern and our success or defeat pattern.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we're going to come back to this, but you just lost a job recently, right? So, and that's happening to so many people these days. But how much offended your specialness?
80%.
So subtract the 80% from you losing your job.
Subtract means eliminate or what?
Yes, yes. Take away from.
Yeah, it's freedom actually.
Mhm. Yeah. But right now you're still attached
Mm.
because how good were you at your job?
Very.
Yeah. So, and some people go, well, yeah, well, I just stuck it to the man and I wasn't good at my job and I cheated and I did all this stuff. And then you get attention that way.
Mhm.
But you attack yourself. Like, and here you lost your job and you lost 80% specialness. And how much did you attack yourself?
100.
100%. So that's specialness also.
Mhm.
Self-attack
Mhm.
based on specialness.
Mhm.
But every time self-attack comes up, who needs your help? Who comes up now?
Chris.
Yeah. So can you pour that love, that support to your boyfriend?
Mhm. Good.
Yeah. So bonding is the opposite. Specialness is between you and me. And the mind is always going, I'm more special than them. No, I'm more special than them. No, I'm less than them. Oh. Specialness ties in comparison.
Mhm.
And check this out, but when you're comparing yourself, it leads to hatred. That bitch is younger than me and she got my job.
No,
You
I
know,
like
I
this.
hate her. You know, she got my boyfriend. I hate her. I tried to give her this boyfriend. Come on. But it's all tied up in competition. Betty, if we measured it, how much competition would there have been in your family?
100.
Now subtract specialness. How much competition would there be in your family?
2%.
Hmm. Well, you can't have competition unless you want to win.
Mhm.
Though some people compete to lose because they get attention that way.
Mhm.
They're not the very best.
Mhm.
And then they have to glom on to somebody who is the winner and is the very best.
Mhm.
And then if that person doesn't recognize them, sometimes they want to kill them. See, attack, if you follow it down through the mind, it gets to a place where you want to murder somebody. Every little irritation goes leads to fury, rage.
Mhm.
And it's somehow about somebody didn't treat me special. Now, this is a lot of ideas to throw out, but these are things that I found just working with people to free them. And to get to mastery, it's getting to a place being nobody special. Every emotion you've had, have you had a lot of emotions, Betty?
Lots lately.
Yeah. And you're also super sensitive, which I've written a series of books about. But a super sensitive is someone who's promised to get over their wounds because they get wounded by everything, but to get to unity, a unity stage of mind, which is a very powerful stage of mind, which means you bring peace wherever you go. And that just radiates out to people and it helps save the world. And it's really necessary. Partnership is crucial right now. But the ego is saying, be afraid, be different, be separate, and attack the others. And what kind of world does that lead to?
War world.
Doesn't lead to a world where everybody's helping each other. It's not a world of friends helping friends. It's a world of I'm different, I'm better. Let me kill somebody who thinks different than I do. And my way is the truth. But there's not thousands of different truths. There's one truth. And of course, a miracle says God is truth. And truth is a place where everyone wins. And it's not about the ego winning or losing. And it's a time where extending ourselves is really needed. Helping. It's like you just did, Chris is gone and you love him. It helps him, it helps you. And who cares about specialness then? Because you feel love. There's sometimes when we're first in the romance period, we're very special and our partner is very special, you know. But then we get over that and our specialness leads to all of our fights. Who's right? Who's special? Who you're not treating me the way you're going to get it. But this valuelessness was lost. This valuelessness began in our families. We lost our sense of value there. And most people, I work with some really successful people. Okay. And you ask them how valueless, like I was just talking to someone just before this, and really successful woman, and how much valuelessness do you have? 75%? How hard do you have to work every day to be special? All day, you know? But what if you were just the flower you came to be and you didn't have to push to gain value because that was given to you at creation? But between us and creation, there's the valuelessness, there's the shattered dreams, there's the heartbreaks. So you had a heartbreak, you had a shattered dream when you lost your family. Could you, how much of your specialness could you subtract from that?
All of it.
Yeah. And then you need do nothing.
Yeah.
In our families, we play all these roles to try to save the family, even being the lost child, being feeling abandoned. But all of our emotions were the result of some kind of specialness. So could you feel if you let go of all that specialness about your family? What happens to the shattered dream?
It's bonding and light and love.
What happens to the guilt and feelings of failure?
There's just unity right now, actually.
Ah, and then can you just share that with your family?
Yeah, sweet.
Can you subtract the need for specialness about losing your job? No more specialness, just a lesson. Just
It's
like our family.
correlated to the loss of family. This is correlated to the loss of the team and everything and the clients. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see that now. Yeah. Yeah, then it's bonding and sweet and everybody. It's just
yeah,
love. Mhm.
yeah. It becomes a transition for you.
Mhm.
And where there's darkness, you're in a transition, which means there's lots of emotions and things like this, but it's just having faith going forward.
Mhm.
And then you find your way,
Mhm.
or what if you took Christ's hand and went forward through this little period of darkness until the next lesson, the next chapter comes along? And the world is getting ready to go through in this year, especially toward the end of the year, there's going to be a lot of darkness. And it's just a new lesson. And it's a crucial time to have faith in yourself. But specialness is lack of faith in yourself. It's a compensation. To be a master is to be nobody special. To be enlightened is to be absolutely nothing. Because then you start remembering that you are as you were created. You start remembering the love that created you. And you start remembering God as your father, as your loving father, as your friend, as wanting to give you everything. Our specialness says, no, I want to do it myself. And look where that got us. So we don't look to each other. We don't um look to heaven. We try to do it ourselves. And when you're independent, you are taking surreptitiously, of course, because you would never take from everybody around you, would you?
No.
But specialness is a vampire. It's a big suck, and it makes you needy, and it makes you pretend you don't have any needs. But that's not the truth. As we separated, we got needs, and we separated to be different and special. And that leads to pain, and it leads to guilt, and it leads to revenge. Like we are blaming other people for mistakes we made.
Mm.
And that we just turn it around. We separated, which caused the pain, and we project that they did it to me. I mean, let's take a look at this. Just let's see what pops in here. Let's pretend that you every time you had a fight with Chris, you blamed it on him. Of course, who was right?
Me.
Yeah, but under righteousness is always wrongiousness, is
Yes.
always guilt. So under our judgment and grievances is our guilt, but we're still attacking them for it. But as you attack others, you attack yourself. You're going, okay, I'm not so special. Maybe I'm the problem. There was this comic book magazine when I was a teenager um, that was called Mad Magazine. And always in it, there was a guy called Alfred E. Newman. And at some point, he'd be in the toilet and he'd be going, okay, goodbye, cruel world. And because he was the ultimate loser, but he was special and he was funny because of that. If we can only look at ourselves like that, where we failed, it was part of our revenge. And it was part of our revenge because we weren't treated special by somebody important to us. And then we get very dependent, which is track, the fast lane to heartbreak. But it's because he didn't treat me special. He didn't, she didn't treat me special. You know, look what she did to me. And that our victim stories are based on that. We refuse the lesson, it just makes us more special. If you think of, how many times have you been a victim?
Hundreds.
Only hundreds, huh?
In this life or in this year. Yeah, no.
But
Plenty. Plenty.
if you subtract specialness from all the times you were wounded, what's left?
20% still.
20% victim? Mhm. You think?
I guess it would be zero, but there's attachment to the specialness in the victim story.
Exactly. How many victim stories do you have?
Ah, 20,000.
And what has that caused in your life?
Yeah.
I mean, and who's writing that story?
Me, unfortunately.
And how old are the selves writing that story?
1 year old comes up now.
Yeah. They used to be older, but as you're healing, it's getting down to basics. And 1 year old is your sense of identity,
Mhm.
which means you have 20,000 self concepts of being a victim.
Makes sense looking back to my life.
Yeah, and it sets up this vicious circle. But you're writing the stories. Take your crayons away from that baby.
Yes.
And now ask Mother Mary and all of her angels to pick up one of those children and with divine love bring them up to your present age and melt them into you.
That feels good, yeah.
Yeah. It's a sense of completion. Wires that were cut get rewired in your heart, your mind, and your body.
Yeah, they develop kind of adult consciousness.
Yeah, we just get more mature. Like if I asked Betty, how many tantrums do you have going on inside?
It's the 20,000 night or day.
Yeah. And we're having a tantrum because we didn't get what we wanted. But God, by his very nature, her very nature, wants to give us everything that wouldn't hurt us. But we make specialness more important than getting what we want.
Yeah.
About a dozen years ago, I made up this ancient saying, which says, you can have anything you want if you're willing to give up your independence. The ego wants us to be independent. It wants us to be isolated. It doesn't want partnership or bonding or friendship, partnership of any kind. And so it's always trying to fight against partnership. You've never had a fight in your partnership, right? Yeah. And when you were fired, you didn't feel they did me wrong. I'm their best, and they got rid of me. How are they going to survive without me? You never had any of those thoughts, did you?
No.
No, never. Right. I mean, it's like if we watch our thinking, we're always, what we perceive, what we experience comes from our thinking. And this is one of those key things. Let me give up my specialness because every little upset, what happens is it throws us off the path. It knocks us over. But that's specialness. If we're willing to let that go, give that up. So you can see how much you've been trying to be special. We all have. It's a lesson that we learn. Okay. So what if you were just the flower you came to be? Does a flower compare herself to other flowers? No. Does a tree compare itself to other trees? No, trees actually have a network of communication with their roots, and they're all helping, they're all connected. They have a better community than we do. We think they're separate.
Yes, really. Yeah.
It's every man for himself. And if you're a woman, you really have to be out for yourself because nobody's taking care of you. I mean, it's crazy. You know, the the way the ego thinks is insane.
I like going to the woods to join the network.
Yeah, exactly. All our roots we were created in oneness. You and me were the same. And one of the things that helps relationships a lot is where you see differences, that will be a place where you think your way is better. Well, of course, you're the woman, right? So, yeah, poor, men are so cute. Everyone should own one, right? Just, yeah. You wouldn't laugh if you didn't think it true.
Yes, exactly.
But you also want to be owned by them. You want them to take care of you and treat you special. And woe to the partner that doesn't. And that's all of our hurts and wounds and stuff like that. But when you realize, okay, something goes against your will, like losing your job,
Mhm.
that means it was a soul lesson.
Mhm.
You had a shattered dream with losing your family.
Yeah.
That was a soul lesson. And when we realize our responsibility, which is the opposite of guilt, because responsibility means you can do something about it. You're responsible. You're able to respond. And even when something seems beyond our control, we can we can choose how we want to respond. That's our freedom. And we can also ask for miracles. But if we're not special, we would be willing to ask. We would be humble enough to ask for a miracle. And we wouldn't block it by our self concepts of being a victim or a sacrificial victim. When I was a kid, whenever I read the part in the Bible about Abraham getting ready to sacrifice Isaac, I always started crying. I never knew why. But as I got older, I realized that I was that kid. But it wasn't being sacrificed by my father. I was doing it to myself. But my father was sacrificing himself. So I was following in his footsteps. So, folks, if you don't want your kids to be sacrificial victims, then let go of it yourself. If you want to heal anyone, heal it in yourself first. I mean, the Course in Miracles said something like this. I'm paraphrasing that to heal the whole world is simply to change your mind about yourself.
Easiest thing.
Yeah. So, how valueless do you feel, Betty?
Yeah, right now, 80% with this whole situation.
Yeah. And so, can you subtract, with heaven's help, all the specialness involved in you feeling valueless?
Mm.
How do you feel now?
Powerful.
Yeah. I mean, did God create valuelessness? So does it really exist? So your reason can tell you that this is the ego's doing. It's giving you a name for yourself by being valueless or super valuable because look what I did. But if you can be the flower you came to be, the tree you've come to be, what's why waste all that time? You could be just having and experiencing joy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, how different does that feel, right?
Yeah, totally.
And it's catching up and it takes a little time. Oh, I'm feeling bad today. Where where did it say you had to feel good? Only your specialness. Okay, there's a lesson here. Let's learn the lesson. What judgment am I making on someone? That'll always feel bad. What emotion do I have? The emotion I have says I got off the track and I could ask heaven to put me back on track, being true to myself. Because as Shakespeare wrote, you can't be false to anyone. Your specialness is treacherous to your relationships. It's also treacherous to God. Betty, would you be willing to forgive God for what you didn't give to yourself?
Yes. Ah, yeah.
In A Course in Miracles, it says, if you want to help millions of people, forgive God. Because, see, it's like when we have a grievance with someone, a judgment against someone, we'll also have that against significant people beyond them. And we'll also have that um, against God. For instance, when you felt the pain of losing your job, who are you judging?
The owner.
The owner, right? And unmask the owner, and who's there?
The feminine.
The feminine. So unmask the feminine, who's there?
The, that's interesting. Angels.
Angels. And unmask the angels, who's there?
Then my mom comes up.
Finally your mom comes up.
Yes.
I knew she was there from the beginning, but I just don't know when she'd show up. And unmask your mom, who's there.
My grandmother.
Great. Unmask your grandmother, who's there.
And it's God.
Mhm. And you forgive God. It always comes down to that. We blame God. I mean, and by definition, God couldn't have done that or not done that for us. So if it's not him, who's left?
Just me.
Who wrote that story? Who wrote that script? And it's learning to catch these scripts. Betty, how many heartbreak stories do you have?
I think I said 20. It comes up 20,000. I've done
And
so much, but it's
how old is the kid writing those stories?
5 months. First year.
5 months. Can barely hold something.
Yes.
My grandson yesterday had this flowered shirt on and he kept, grabbing it, just looking at the colors and looking at the colors and then grabbing and then trying to eat it. Yeah. Just he loved the colors. It was a flower shirt. So, how many 5-month olds are rating your 20,000 heartbreak stories?
Yeah, it's the 20,000 evening, so it's 20,000.
Okay. So, can you ask Mother Mary and her angels to carry the 5 months olds up? And see, these 5 months olds will come up and go, "You're not taking care of me, boyfriend. You're not nursing me. You're just uh, bad mama."
Just lost my family.
Yeah, exactly. But Mother Mary carries you up with divine love to your present age so these 5-month olds can grow up and melt into you, reconnecting wires in your heart, mind, and body. How does this feel?
Feeling whole. Mhm.
Yeah, you feel so much more solid. And that's so much better than being special, which means you have to work your ass off all the time to do something to gain attention. And then if you can't do it positively, well, you get sick or you fail or you do something like that. So,
Mhm.
so we come down to valuelessness.
Oh, yeah.
How much valuelessness do you have as a woman?
Oh, yeah. This is a bad day for this question. It's 80%.
8%. But, it's like the person I just worked with before, who was a very successful woman, said the same thing. I
Tantric
mean,
pain is
it's
valueless.
crazy. It's the feminine, you know, truly that can save the world. Because you think the feminine would start wars? I don't think so. So first we have to get the balance of masculine and feminine. But then it's like as consciousness grows, it naturally becomes more feminine. Instead of doing, we receive. We become God's child again. So, so if you subtracted specialness from valuelessness, what would be left?
Zero.
Right. So if you got down to zero and the ego says, no, you better keep working to prove yourself or you'll die. No, the ego will die.
Yes,
And when the ego dies, what's left is how you were created as God created you.
I can feel that there. Mm.
This beautiful this beautiful flower that is tied in with all the fields of flowers.
It's funny, I'm surrounded by flowers today, actually.
Sweet. Hmm.
Mm. Mhm.
So, how much emotion just fell away in our talk this morning?
50,000 kilos.
And how much time did you save?
Again, 500 lifetimes.
And isn't it good to start now to enjoy what you would have had to work so hard for in 500 lifetimes and to just be that and know that you're God's flower, you're God's bubula, and you're part of all this garden that He's created. I mean, that's what they say in A Course in Miracles about Jesus is that he became the Christ because he realized he was one with God. And he realized that all us brothers and sisters were also one with him and therefore one with God. So he's the bridge, he's the Christ. Now working in Asia, I mean, there's Kuan Yin and Buddha, and they realized oneness going their path. For whatever someone needs, there's a path for them. And I can feel their palpable presence, just like in the West, I feel Christ and Mary and Moses and David, you know, it's all tied together. But where we want to separate, we go, our way is better.
Yeah.
I have one true way, and you're screwed. But haven't you ever thought about that with your boyfriends? I have the one true way.
Yes.
And unless you go along with me, you're not going to get in. So, and then we have a fight.
Specialness again.
Yeah. Now we've jumped all over a lot today, but I think there's the, the tools that can free people
Mm.
if they want to use healing as their path and their mind as their path and realize I'm the one responsible for my life. It was all me. And it's denial that says it was somebody else or somebody else did it to me.
Mm. Yeah.
So if you look back to every victim event, how much denial is there to realize we did it all? But that's why back in the 1970s, when I was young and foolish, it's like that I began studying the subconscious, which quickly led into the soul mind, the ancestral patterns and the past life patterns and the astral and deep in the mind our bad attitude.
Mm.
Hmm.
I can feel that the bad attitude and the denial is kind of locking in the victim story.
Yeah, yeah. And we hide that from ourselves. And the first level is misery. We've never been in misery, right? But usually a transition period is a time of misery. but it's a time where it can be so fruitful because we could see where all the specialness was that got thwarted and frustrated, or that we depended on, that we were attached to. When someone dies, it's a major life lesson when someone close to us dies. But if we're holding on to the attachment, which is our specialness and their specialness, then we don't want to go on to the next chapter. We want to go back to the last chapter. And then we suffer. And then we suffer and we hold on until we're willing to let go and begin. And it doesn't honor that person that passed by holding on to them. That's not the partnership, the creativity, the love that was in that relationship, the sharing. So if we can let them go. And so the first stage of that bad attitude, that misery, that desolation, that devastation is God's a bad God. I mean, when I work with people with chronic problems or chronic illnesses, that's where I learn this stuff. They're blaming God for their divorce, for their cancer, for their whatever it was. They're blaming other people too, their parents and their partner and their ex-partners. Um, I worked with a woman with cervical cancer once when I back in again it was the night I guess it was the early 1980s, and she had cervical cancer, and she was see, everything that happens to us is a subconscious message to people. So when you lost your job, who were you giving a message to?
My dad.
And what was the message?
Oh, I'm not good enough because
Mhm.
of you.
I'm just like you, Dad. I'm not good enough. Do you realize how a subconscious mess that creates? Or you could say, okay, Dad, time for my next chapter, time for my next lesson. I am willing to learn it. I won't blame you because I love you. I mean, that's a false loyalty. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you let that go?
Yes.
What message were you giving to your mother?
Second, attached to suffering
I love you, Mom. I'm just like you. I'll be attached to suffering too.
and losing the family. Actually, I was talking to her and she told me that she's sad today because she lost her parents because they died. So there's
Mhm. Yeah.
sorry. Mhm.
Yeah. So who are you holding on to like that? Who
Mm,
pops in?
as well, my somehow my grandparents as well.
Right. So were you holding on to your grandparents?
Yeah, obviously. They
Yeah.
were
So that's attachment. Attachment blocks love. When you suffer when someone dies, you're going through attachment. You're letting go of that. But it's the hard way. You could take years to do that. You could take lifetimes.
Mhm.
Or you can, thank them, let them go. And then all of a sudden, all the love that's between you and your grandparents, and they just loved you. You were their bright light.
Mhm.
And as you let go of your grandparents, how much does that help your mother?
80%.
Yeah, to heal ourselves to help the people around us.
Mhm.
And it's a big job, so, but we can do it, especially with heaven's help. 'Cause so that was only the first layer of bad attitude, by the way.
How many
I
layers
mean,
are there in general?
10, 11, layers, and it's nasty stuff. The next layer is layer of tantrum, which I already asked you about how many tantrums. But if you and the step after that is a shtick. A shtick is a tantrum so big you've turned it into an art form. And a shtick, you beat yourself up and you beat the others up around you by doing your shtick.
Mhm.
It's just absolutely painful when people are doing their shticks. How many shticks do you have?
20.
Could you take your sticks and your tantrums and take them to the heavens trading post and see what you get back for them?
Value comes back. That's it.
Many
Value,
your
value, value,
value
value.
comes back.
Oh, this is nice.
Mm. Yeah, really. That's the thing. Under attachment, there's love and value. Love always has value. When you give love, you give them value. You
Yes.
give anything, you give a person value. You make dinner for somebody, you're giving them dinner. You give them value. And you give yourself whatever you give to anybody else, you give to yourself. So if you attack somebody, you're attacking yourself. If you judge somebody, you're condemning yourself. If you're crucifying someone with your judgment, you're crucifying yourself. Yikes. So this is an area that I ran into, about a dozen years ago, working with people with catastrophic illness. And basically, they're more attached to something rather than the truth. And it's basically would think, well, this is what humans do. Yeah, it is, but it's not true. You can get to the point where the best that humanity has to offer. Isn't that what you come for, Betty? And then you graduate into your divinity more and more, you know, human and divine. And then it moves into just divine. And then you're giving that value that people lack. You're giving that love that people lack. And it's because at some point they made the mistake of separating. Sometimes big patterns are coming from past lives. I was working with someone from Asia a few days ago, and they had this pattern where they came in and they took over responsibility for the family. They put themselves in sacrifice. They felt valueless. They did this, and it came from the lifetime right before that where they failed to take care of their community in England, in the UK. And they had never stopped attacking themselves because the community failed. And so they came in and they were now attacking themselves for the same thing because they couldn't take care of the people around them. They couldn't take care of their family. And it was killing them until they got the lesson of that life and healed it and just brought in the love, just brought in the gifts, heaven's gifts, their gift, and their wisdom from learning that lesson. So we're coming into a time of big lessons. Let us keep faith in ourselves in heaven, knowing heaven has miracles for us if we ask.
Yes.
And the only thing in the way is our grievances, which block miracles, and our specialness, which makes grievances. So if we can let that go, we can be, I'm your baby, I'm your bubbler, I'm your child. And then you realize, well, yeah, I'm God's child. He would be incomplete without me. I mean, we need our children as much as they need us. God needs us. Oneness would be incomplete without us. Love would be incomplete without us. So let's learn who we really are and celebrate.
Yeah.
And celebrate. Yes. Prost. Prost. Yeah. It's morning. I have coffee, right? Yeah. I know you have your martini there, but
It's a caffè latte glass,
yeah,
actually.
latte. Yeah. Nice.
Thank you, Doug. I hope.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's like we're all pilgrims learning these lessons and together. That's all there is.
So more of this in the apprenticeship of Restoration of Tantra.
Yeah. 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 It's basically the feminine path. And it's learning all about our emotions
Mhm.
and learning all about love and the true meaning of sex. Oh boy. Oh girl. Okay.
Thank you, Jack.
Then good seeing you again.
See you soon. Bye.